Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Plant Fanatics. My name is Chad. I'm the owner of the American Fig Company and obviously started Plant Fanatics. Today I want to talk to you guys about Asimina triloba, the largest fruit native to North America, so stay tuned. Right now we're in early spring and it's the perfect time to show you guys this tree because it's got a few blooms left on it, we've got some leaves on it, and we have got tons of little fruit that are starting to grow, so it's a super exciting time. If you look up here in the tree, you can see now this flower is almost spent. All the flowers are almost spent at this point, but you can see it's a very beautiful flower. It's kind of a maroon flower. It's pollinated by flies and beetles, things that would normally be attracted by roadkill. So it kind of has a foul smelling flower. With that being said, even with me standing close to it when it's in full bloom, and I have other pawpaw trees as well that are close by, I've never smelt the flower. So let's not let people be over dramatic about it. You can have these planted next to your house. You're going to be fine. There's no serious stench coming. However, the pollinators can smell it. They're attracted to it. And that's a very good thing because that's how you're going to get fruit set. Hey guys, I just wanted to take a quick break and tell you about our 100% free ebooks that we have on our website dealing with all different varieties of fruiting plants, whether it's citrus, bananas, pawpaws, whatever it is, we've got you covered. So head over to the website or the link in the description and check those out. Now, when you first plant a pawpaw tree, they do need a little bit of shade. However, if you don't give it that shade, it's not necessarily going to kill the tree. It's just going to give it a little bit of a rough start. I never covered any of my trees and they all grew fine. At the beginning, the early stages, they are not going to grow a lot of fruit. It's going to take a couple of years of them really establishing their roots and getting a little size to them before they start setting the fruit. But once we get to the size of this tree right here, which is probably about 5 or 6 years old now, this variety is called mango. The fruit set is pretty insane. If you come in close, you can see just how many fruit are all over this thing. And what's cool about the pawpaw is that it'll actually set multiple fruit from a single flower. Each one of those little separations there is going to be an individual fruit. So this tree will absolutely just be loaded with fruit. And if you guys subscribe to the channel and stay tuned, I'm going to show you guys the entire process of this thing ripening these fruit. When they're ripe, they're going to fall on the ground, and it's kind of a race at that point to get to the fruit before the animals get to them because they love the fruit just as much as we do. So you definitely have to pay attention to the ripening process of this tree. Now, you are going to need at least 2 different varieties of trees. Now, if they're seedling trees, which is what we sell on our website, I'm a big believer in seedlings. I think that they're just much more vigorous. The life expectancy of the tree is going to go up. Grafted trees they are not as long lived. It's like giving a major surgery to a plant, and they just never seem to do quite as well as a seedling tree. So I'm a big believer in seedling pawpaws. If you get a good tasting pawpaw, you're going to get a good tasting pawpaw. Maybe the characteristics will be a little bit different as it is with a lot of seedling plants. However, you're going to have a much more vigorous plant and a much more longer lived plant. And I think when we're planting a tree, the long haul is something that you really want to be thinking about. With all that being said, at least 2 genetically different varieties of plants. So if you have 2 seedlings, that's perfectly fine. And it's actually even better if you have more than 2, but if you only have space for 2, that's perfectly fine. They need to be cross-pollinated. Now, they do have both the male and female parts of the flower. However, they are not present at the same time like a lot of fruit trees. So like with peaches, which are completely self-fertile, you're going to get fruit set pretty easily. But with pawpaws, you'll be lucky to get a couple of fruit on the tree if you only have 1. But it is possible that they can pollinate themselves, but your chances of getting fruit go way up when you have multiple trees. And remember, genetically different. You don't want 2 of the same variety because that's not doing you any good. Except for maybe you'll get a little more fruit because you're increasing the chances that it might self-pollinate. But get a couple of trees, guys. They're not huge trees. They're easy to maintain via pruning. But once they start getting established, and you can see right here, this tree is really not even that big. This thing's only maybe 3 years old at this point, and we've got quite a few fruit on this thing. And remember, each flower is going to give you multiple fruit. So just this little cluster right here is going to give, let's see, what, 6 or 7 fruit just right there. That's pretty cool. Now, they can get pretty heavy. They can start pulling the branches down. So if a branch doesn't seem like it's going to be able to support the fruit, you may consider, kind of thinning out the fruit in that manner and leaving the fruit on the larger branches until the tree gets more established. But with that being said, a little shade in the first couple of years. And after that, they do really well. They like consistently moist soil, but not waterlogged soils. They do well in a wide variety of soils. And I always call this a rare fruit tree. And I don't call it a rare fruit tree because it's super hard to find. It's just that in cultivation, it's not as common as, things like apples. Like we probably all know somebody that's growing apples or peaches or pears. This is not going to be like that. When you find people that are growing pawpaws, it's a much more rare occurrence. So while on the east coast of the United States, you might be able to go out into the woods and you'll find a bunch of these trees. Like I get comments all the time, people saying, well, I live in Virginia and I have 450,000 trees in my backyard. So how could you call this rare? It's not rare in the sense of that it's not able to be found. It's just that in cultivation, it is not super common and therefore rare in cultivation. So that's kind of the thought process that goes in behind it. But fun tree to grow, something to add that's just different than your ordinary fruits. And you're really not going to find them at the stores. You're not going to find them at the stores because they don't have a long shelf life. They don't ship very well. They're easily bruised. In fact, you'll see later in the season when I show you that when the fruit falls on the ground, it's not a very beautiful fruit. It has a lot of blemishes, and it's not something that would present well in the store. A lot of laymen who don't really know very much about fruit would look at it and be like, oh, there's something wrong with those, but it's completely normal. They just bruise easily, kind of ugly, not very appealing to the eyes, but very tasty fruit, especially when you let them ripen. Usually people that say they don't like it, it's either because if you don't like bananas, you're probably not going to like a pawpaw very much because it really does kind of have a banana flavor to it. But a very unique fruit. It's hard to describe exactly what this fruit is. It's just one of those things you really need to try one. It's a beautiful tree. It doesn't get super large, so something you could grow in a smaller backyard and just different, going to give you really unique fruit. So if you guys have any questions, if there's anything that I haven't covered in this video, ask it in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you guys haven't already, check out theamericanfigcompany.com. Stock may be a little low right now. We've got a lot of things in propagation that we're going to be adding to the site. Just kind of rolling it in. So sign up to our email, very important. Things used to sit for a little while when we first started the company, but it's become more popular over time. So now our fruit trees are gone within a couple of hours. If we put something out in the middle of the day, it's gone by nightfall. So very important to sign up to the email if you guys are looking for something specific. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, and thanks for watching.